There are also some organizational safety challenges. There's significant pressure to deploy. In 2020, especially late 2020, we saw a big flurry of empty driver's seat demos of varying degrees of readiness for actual production. It's hard to believe that that flurry of demos had no relation to the end of the year and a need to report some progress by the end of 2020. And the question is, can teams take the time needed for safety? If they're under schedule pressure, will they be able to actually push back if they're not ready? Will they be able to actually get as safe as they need to be despite the realities of funding and schedules? Some industry transparency is appropriate to help the public accept that the right thing's being done for safety despite inevitable business pressure. It would help a lot if there was safety collaboration rather than competition. In the airline business, they don't compete on who crashes less often than someone else. The public expectation is all airplanes are safe, all airlines are safe, and they compete on other factors. And the car industry is going to need to get there as well for people to really trust this technology. Transparency will be required because having the public believe you're safe because you have a really good marketing campaign is one thing. But when the inevitable adverse news event happens, if the public trust has been based on claims rather than transparency, the first crash that results in a fatality negates all the claims. And now, because there's no transparency, there's no trust. So it's essential for the industry to get to a place where the public not only believes they're safe, but does it because the industry has been very transparent about safety. So if the day comes when something bad happens, the industry has a cushion of transparency and a well of public trust so that the public understands that the technology is not perfect, but the industry's been straight with them, and so they have a reason to believe things are still okay. A base for all this is going to have to be a robust safety culture. In practice, you're not going to get safety unless you have a really good safety culture. And there are two dimensions of challenge here. The first is robotics meeting automotive engineering. Those are two different cultures, two different backgrounds, two different disciplines, and melding them together is already a cultural integration issue that's proceeding at the various companies. But underneath that is a deeper cultural reconciliation that's still in progress. There's the Silicon Valley move fast and break things culture, which can work great for consumer electronics, but is not really intended to be used on life-critical systems. There's the automotive culture, which has been building life-critical systems for a long time. But until now, they've always had a driver to task with cleaning up the loose ends, so they can reduce cost by tasking the driver with dealing with minor malfunctions. But now that there's no driver, that doesn't work anymore. So now there's no human driver. The automotive folks have to get used to dealing with there's no driver to clean up small things that in principle, even a small thing can lead to a bad crash if not mitigated. And they have to deal with integrating with a culture that is all about time to market and good enough functionality. Except we're trusting our lives to these vehicles, so they have to get it right.